Good evening, folks. Going to call the meeting to order here at 7 o'clock at 1 Academy Street in the Swanton Town offices on Tuesday, August 2nd. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review, not even the executive session, we got that. Personnel. Mark, got anything?
No additions or changes.
Nicole, anything?
No.
Earl, anything?
No, all set.
Kathy,
So
you good?
thank you.
You good? Ed, anything?
All set,
Thank you. Can I hear a motion to approve the July 19th regular Zoom meeting minutes?
I move.
A second?
All right, any other discussion on them? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Public comment? Anybody anything for public comment?
Small group tonight.
Yeah.
They're all
I just wanna say, the car show was awesome. You guys did a great job, and thank you for all your hard work, Mark, you put into it. It's just a great turnout.
Yeah, we had a huge turnout. We had a couple things I guess we have to talk about after, but
Yeah.
not so much us
Nope.
as a committee, but
Yep.
we raised a lot of money and brought a lot of people in the community.
I just didn't believe the people that brought to town.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
walk through
unbelievable.
there and on the
Yeah.
outskirts. it's
I mean, we were
really-
there about, I don't know, a little after noon, 1 o'clock, something like that. It's just unbelievable.
They're from all over.
Yeah,
It's
no,
really
it's
good
very,
community.
very good,
And
probably.
I'd say within an hour after we're done, the park is spotless.
Oh, for the next morning,
Yeah.
because I said,
Yeah.
over there. No,
But thank you.
great job by all.
I did have a local citizen approach me and ask me, where does that money go, Mark?
The money itself stays
That's
within the
right.
chamber for other events through the community, through the chamber. That's the biggest fundraiser for the chamber to survive and do the various events that we do. We build everything.
Thank you.
But thank you. Yeah.
Law enforcement,
Wow, get the chief right up there.
yes. Chief,
Come on up,
page
Chief.
4. Evening, sir.
Evening.
Busy night out there?
Yeah, it's nice. It's a good crowd.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there. And that park's really getting used. It's about 2
Yeah.
days.
Oh.
All right, so you'll see the summary, the incident summary on the first page here. The most incidents were related to traffic stops. There were 38 incidents. There were 10 agency assist calls. There were 8 boating accident incidents. Now, those are specific to the Stone Garden detail. It was something that wasn't documented in the CAT RMS system previously that I felt needed to be documented, so those are now being documented when they come in contact with people on the lake. There were 6 suspicious person circumstances, 4 motor vehicle complaints, 4 welfare checks, 3 family fight domestics, 2 directed patrols, and I can't even read the last category there.
Agency assistance?
Agency assist is at the bottom there.
Which one you try? Oh,
The top 10 incident types there.
Alarm?
I think it says alarm, yeah. Yeah.
2 incidents, so 91 incidents overall. Again, 38 traffic stops, and then if you look at the ticket breakdown, it's interesting, I think I figured out why there's sometimes variation there, is that if the officer doesn't fill out the ticket tab, it's not pulling that data out of the CAT RMS system. So you'll see there's a difference in the ticket data, there were 31 stops indicated rather than the 38, and my guess is that's why there's a difference between those 2 statistics. There were 8 tickets issued and 23 warnings issued, and 1 of the traffic stops resulted in an arrest, which I believe is at the top of that list. You'll see it is 88 and 40 on Frontage Road. So that ended up in an arrest as well as a ticket for the excessive speed. And then there was only 1 arrest, and again, it was that excessive speeding arrest associated with that same traffic stop on Frontage Road.
Was that, just curious, it doesn't matter, but was that on Swan's portion of the frontage road?
Yes, I believe it was.
I mean, I just asked, because I mean, that's literally like 3/4 of a mile that we own from the end of the road to
Right,
there.
no, I
That's
believe it
insane,
was.
80
and I
miles an hour.
Yeah,
you know.
I believe it was, there was a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Coming down the front of the road. So we did, so I know after our last meeting, we covered, some of the traffic issues, you know, we're doing data collection at different points. Quab Shore and, Spring Street specifically. And so the 17th, we did host a, Governor's Highway Safety Detail. We did not get people from outside agencies to participate, but myself and 2 other officers participated in that detail, and we spread out, covered initially. I started down on McQuam Shore, one officer started up on 105 and one on St. Albans Road, covering those areas. So there were 15 traffic stops associated with that detail, and we did that on the 17th. But again, the traffic enforcement is trending in the right direction. And hopefully, there's been several incidents. There was another bad crash last night, I want to say on 105, further out by Hartman's.
I did hear that. There was an accident. It's just crazy.
So I know the state is interested in trying to calm traffic also, because there was this pullback during COVID, right? As far as operationally law enforcement not engaging with random members of the public as much.
So tell us about our new female officer, Matt.
Kylie Bedeau is, she had about 4 years of experience in the Berlin Police Department and is a part-time officer for us now. She's a full-time realtor.
Okay.
Works for M Realty. And she's a very good police officer. She's got quite a deal of experience coming out of Burlington for 4 years. Her and her husband both resigned from Burlington probably almost a year ago now, maybe a little over a year ago. And they were interested in working part-time at Swanton, both part-time, and her husband, Tyler Bedeau, was so interested in coming back full-time after he saw what Swanton Village Police Department was about that he wanted a full-time position, so I hired him full-time as one of the sergeants because we had both the lieutenant and Sergeant Para who left early on in my tenure.
So you're up to full staff now?
We are at full staff, so it's interesting, people ask this, we're at full staff, but at the same time, we're at minimum staffing. So in Burlington, you had this thing called the availability factor, which was about 86.5% of the time an officer who was actually assigned to a shift would be available for a shift due to time off and that sort of thing. So although we're at, and Burlington built in a buffer for that. Now they have no buffer, obviously, with what's been going on down there the last few years. But if you had, we used to have 12 officers assigned to a day shift and evening shift earlier on in my career. And if you had 12 officers assigned to a shift, you might have 9 or 10 actually show up and be available to work that day. So the issue here is we don't really have any buffer when somebody calls out that shift, then it creates a gap in shift coverage.
And if you had more part-timers, they could pick up some of this extra hours that you usually have too, right?
We do, so we have 7 part-timers,
Yeah.
which is a pretty good number, but a lot of them work regular jobs during the week, so they're not available, you know, especially those shifts at night. You know, it just doesn't coincide with their schedule of having to be at work in the morning, first thing in the morning. And so it's also difficult Sunday nights, it creates an issue for us.
Yeah, did you just have someone graduate academy too?
We did, Tyler Cooper just graduated the academy.
Okay, I knew I
He's
saw it on
level 3
Facebook.
cert now.
Okay.
Yes, he had been working with us for a couple of years. I think as a part-timer, more recently as a full-time employee, but a level 2 certified, and then he attended the academy. We have another officer attending this next academy class here, I wanna say, it might be the 20-something of August it starts. So he's also been working with Swanton Village Police Department for about a year as level 2 cert. We'll be going down there as level 3 certification.
Good.
It caught me off guard here, because I was listening to the scanner there Sunday, and all of a sudden I heard this female voice from over the scanner, so I reached out to Jim and I said, "We got a female officer?" And he said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw something about it, so.
And she was stopping some cars, so she was,
Yes.
she's out there, good.
And I just got a couple questions that's kind of alarming to me. We give a warning for a 71 and a 50. That's kind of concerning. Under 78. And then we gave a warning for a 60 and a 40.
Right, so I would have to follow up on these specifically, but
I know sometimes there's certain circumstances, which you said last time, but.
so
Yeah.
I came in, I covered a shift, I wanna say 2 Saturdays, was it 2 Saturdays ago possibly? But it's interesting, so 78 is tricky as it heads up towards the high school, right? I don't really care for the way it's marked personally, because people are flying on that road when you get further out into Highgate, right? And they're coming into town, they're doing 50, 60 miles an hour on a regular basis, right? Which it's a 50-mile-an-hour road, and then all of a sudden it drops to 35. I also, likewise, when I came in that Saturday, I sat on Spring Street to try to make some personal observations there. And I did, I wanna say about 4 hours of traffic enforcement on Spring Street. I was sitting at, I wanna say Bree Lane, so in the town, just outside of the village boundary a little bit. But there also, it's confusing, I didn't realize how quickly the speed drops, right? It's 50, the 50 sign is not much further from where I was sitting. I was in the 40, and then it's really questionable as to where the radar is even picking up cars, right? I wish there was more of a gap as far as, it really being marked, saying, okay, you're in a 50-mile-per-hour zone, and it drops to a 40, and it's 40 for an extended period of time, and now it drops to a 35, such as on 78 as you come into the village.
Yeah, but even a 71 and the 50, I mean, that's scary, no matter where you are, whether it's Route 78 down there or Route 78 up here for a warning.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
And I'd have to follow up with the officer. I know the last time we had a discussion about this a little bit, I talked to the officer who did something similar, and it's more of a mentoring moment, because it's not something that we like to put as a hard, we always like officers to use discretion to some extent, so whatever that is, but as far as I would have to look into the specifics of that incident to really know the details as to why the officer exercised that sort of discretion in that circumstance.
Fair enough.
I see some good coverage on some of our terrible roads we got, some of our problem areas, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think that benefits everybody in the community, even if that traffic enforcement is occurring in the town, they see the Swanton cruiser out there.
Just a presence.
And it's hopefully tamping down essentially the speed limits.
We're good.
I have one question. The last meeting, we were looking at proposal for some possibility of date coverage. You had given us some numbers.
Yep.
And that was totally contingent upon officers volunteering for the overtime. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting, I had a discussion with the guys a little bit about it, and I think it would be very difficult, because one of the things we discussed is possibly trying to alter the hours. The problem is there's this issue with the state police now currently, obviously with coverage, because outside of the contract hours, state police is responsible for coverage. So if we were to alter those hours at random points, I think it would create a great deal of confusion with state. It would create a great deal of confusion with dispatch and the community, and also whether or not we would even have the coverage we need in the evening hours.
But if we opted to have an officer work more hours than what we already have contracted, you can accommodate that, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe we could at this point, yes.
Well, we had looked at a proposal. There was dollar figures there.
There was.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so I had asked,
Two different proposals.
well, I had asked, and I have it here, basically, I had asked Lynn to estimate the amount, and for 10 hours of coverage, she had an estimate of $795.60, and for 15 hours of coverage, $1,193.40.
And we were assuming that was for a month.
No, that's
Yeah.
all.
No, I think it's for those hours.
Just those hours.
Oh, just those hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if you wanted to spread it out over a month, that's fine. I mean, it's only 10
Yeah,
hours a
well,
month.
how many hours do we really want?
Yeah, but we have to
You know,
discuss.
I mean, a couple
whether-
hours in a day, every week, different roads might
yeah.
be enough to do to start getting, better, a little bit better.
I mean, I think
Right
it's again, one of the frustrations I have certainly being new is that it's in that the contract model is interesting to me, it's foreign to me from where I came from, right? Because we're obviously here to support the community as law enforcement, and so it's an issue, but the problem is if we start adjusting that line, how far, then do we start responding to calls at 3, at 2, and all the follow-up on these calls. For example, when I do 4 hours of traffic, I'm actually on the road for 4 hours engaging in traffic enforcement. I have to do 2 hours of paperwork to properly document those 4 hours of traffic enforcement on the road. So, there's quite a bit of paperwork on the backside of law enforcement, unfortunately, and modern law enforcement. It's certainly changed quite a bit over the years.
The second proposal was for how many hours?
These are just sheer dollar figures, so it's whatever the town would be interested in. And again, Lynn just came up with these numbers as far as the 10 hours of coverage and 15 hours of coverage extra, which could be done in a piecemeal manner.
Yeah.
But it would be officers that would be willing to work overtime.
Correct, because they're already assigned to shifts, and again, we have 8 full-time officers. And although we're fully staffed, we're also minimally staffed at the same time, because we don't really have it. It would be great if we had 1 or 2 more officers. I think I would feel a lot more comfortable as far as staffing levels go, but it is expensive.
Yeah.
Getting people trained, maintaining their training, equipping them.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many hours I spend just keeping up and documenting training.
Did you talk with your officers? Would they be interested in some additional overtime? Is that, if we were gonna do it, we'd like to, have it done. Would they be willing to do it?
Yeah, I believe they would, yes. I can't force them to,
Right.
and that's the thing. So in
Yeah.
Burlington, it's interesting, and this is something I've discussed with the villages. We are not a union shop here in Swanton. Burlington is a union shop, so whenever we call them extra duty jobs in Burlington, essentially what a vendor would be doing is contracting with the Burlington Police Officers Association. They would sign a contract, and the contract would essentially say, we cannot guarantee coverage, but we will put this coverage out, and generally the membership would take it upon themselves to fill those jobs on a regularly scheduled day off.
Well, that's something for us to discuss then.
Put any more full-time people on that.
I would like to, but it comes down to numbers. And I'm dealing with a very small budget compared to, where I came from. I can give you an example. I wanna say our training budget is $2,600. I send 1 officer to 1 training, that whole budget's blown, and I've got no more money for training for the rest of the year. So that's something that I addressed early on, and I said, listen, I'd like to really expand this training budget. Just because training does a lot of things, right? Better trained officers are more confident officers. They're gonna handle situations better. It's gonna limit liability for both the police department and the agency itself.
And the trustees acceptable to that?
I believe so. I believe the trustees are. My impression is
So you've had that discussion?
they're very supportive. I've had the discussion with Lynn. I haven't had the discussion with the trustees, maybe generally, but not specifically. And then realistically, it's what can the budget accommodate?
I understand.
Because the problem is, for example, just hiring another officer, between salary and benefits are very expensive also. I think the village offers a very good benefit package for officers, but all of it adds up, and so you're talking about quite a bit of additional budget if you had officers.
Which is something I'm sure you're gonna be working on this for the year's end.
I'd like to. I'd like to. One of the big issues too is the way the schedule is set up now. For example, there's no rotation. So we have an officer that always works weekends. Now that's not great. If they're looking to do something, they could be. And the problem is I want to retain these people. We've got some very good officers at the department right now, and I want to retain them. And if they get burned out from working weekends, they have to spend time away from their family, that's not a good thing. I think we have a plan to be able to initiate a rotation for at least the evening shift, but it would require 4 officers assigned to the evening shift and then flipping them every other month.
Anyway, I greatly recognize that you're covering some of these shifts. That's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah, if the shift doesn't get covered, I'm coming in and I'm covering the shift.
I realize that.
Yep.
All right.
And I just think the extra coverage, if we wanna go that way, and then we can just
We
discuss the extra coverage if we want.
ourselves.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we got the information, we'll go from there, so. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Health officer report, I don't think we have it. There is one. That would be me.
We don't have it. Didn't have any work.
Me, I had one complaint on Woods Hill and I dealt with it, so problem was resolved. That's all I got. I didn't write your report. I don't get paid enough for every report. Yeah,
Wow.
you gotta pay me more. Old Town Business voicemail upgrade. That must be you, Brian.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Last I heard from Peter last week was apparently there's some sort of licensing details that have to be worked out. And so the system is not doing yet what we want it to do. I was in the office for a couple of hours today, and I had 17 messages sitting down on my voicemail. Which I took care of most of them. There's like 2 out there that I still have to take care of. Anyways, it's still something I think that we should go forward and get, obviously, because we all get sick at different times or we're away to meetings or something. And I think in the interest of, it's better to be able to reply in some manner to a call that comes in, in at least 24 hours. So that's what we've got. I hope to hear something coming this week, and probably by the time I get back to work, we'll have it, but that's okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Brian.
You okay, Amy?
Just got a cough. Quarterly financial review. I asked Kathy to give us this quarterly, so she says we're good. We got all kinds of extra money to spend.
Always hope.
I said, Kathy says we're good. We got all kinds of extra money to spend. Just go
We have a
down.
few areas we can do that now.
We'll start with the general. See what's on top of my stack. Everybody got theirs?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is as the end of July.
As of today.
Oh, has of today.
Okay, so we're through 7 months of it, so.
So we're more than 1 month over
7 months.
halfway.
Yeah, we're like 7 months.
Yeah. Nothing in there bother you, Kathy?
No. No, well, the election expense is going to be over budget. I'll let you know that right now. We had with this we got new voting machines, we got a little more expensive. We had to spend $341 just for pens to use for the new voting machine. And then we had, I'll print it out. And then we had an extra, we had to order, the state usually buys our envelopes for us, but this year they had us buy them, and that was an extra $700 expense that we didn't plan on, so I have like $1,000 extra expenses that we didn't plan on in the election, so, and we still have 2 elections to do, so we're definitely gonna be over budget. So that will be over budget on. Everything else is pretty much in line. Some of the things that are over budget, like the computer consulting, that's because we bought equipment,
Yeah.
but we have the offset.
That
Exactly.
equipment is got built in there too.
Yeah, exactly. And the town office complex is over because we did the repointing, so
Okay,
that's in there.
alright. That was one of my questions.
And the miscellaneous expense is over because that's where, like, for the flags, we had to pay for it, so we don't have, we're just kind of running for a miscellaneous. So we do have an offsetting miscellaneous income, but the flags were in there, so that was an added expense to there.
The, down below the building maintenance one, the fireworks one, is there no money in that for the fireworks? Or is that
Where is it?
the one for the fireworks we used to have, the $5,000? Just up from the
It's still
bottom
there.
of the first page,
It's
it's
still there.
okay.
Yeah, we still have it. If you look in the 3rd column over, that's what's left.
Yep, that's what I thought I was looking at, right, okay.
Okay. So that money is there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We haven't gotten a new quote from them, but that's what's.
No.
in there.
Okay. See anything particular you guys on?
She covered it through there.
Yeah. That's pretty good to me. Alright, on the highway, buy one.
Wow.
And then I'll just tell you on the parts, cause I printed out, told James about the parts
supplies, that's like a repair item, it shows it's 244.46% over budget, but that has $61,448 for the tempo for our dump
Yep.
truck, body. So actually, that line item actually by itself still has $18,000 to be spent in.
Yeah, because the money, you haven't took the money out of the truck replacement fund for that yet.
Right, well, the money's been taken out, but it'll reflect in the offset.
Yeah. I get you.
The highway budget, just, the paving's in here, right?
Well, we have $325,000, but we
Yeah.
just got the one paving bill yesterday in the mail.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, probably gas, oil, and grease,
It's up.
it's up.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
74%.
So
Even
overall,
trash
you're
removal.
Probably gonna be 50, probably double by the time we're done with the year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
in the highway, in spite of the,
In spite of the overages.
yeah.
Do we have a line item, Kathy, for rail, the Richard Thompson healthy path?
An expense line?
Yeah, for maintenance or anything, we don't have anything like that.
No,
That's something we need to look at it.
well, we
Yeah.
maintain it.
Yeah, no, I know we maintain it, but I'm
It's
gonna
part
get to
of-
it later, but we got some trees we gotta remove over there
Oh,
off the
okay.
thing, so I think come budget time, that's something we need to think about, to put some money aside for that trail. It could be used for anything on the trail that we need to maintain, but it's good to have that, a line item for that, even if it's $5,000, So. Yeah. Okay, good. Anybody got any other questions?
I'm good.
Alright. Thank you, Kathy. Review and sign contract with 447 Strategies LLC. Sorry I didn't get back here the other day.
Okay,
Been
worked it out.
a little nuts. Yeah, I did look at it. And, I guess the only thing I questioned was that in the back it said must attend at least 5 meetings. Is that sufficient enough? I mean, he's working with the planning commission on this whole project it's a year-long project, right? Yeah.
He doesn't think it'll take that long.
Has he ever dealt with us before?
Shame on you.
Oh, just kidding.
It says at least 5 meetings, that doesn't mean he won't attend more.
Yeah.
The caveat being that you have an X amount, you have a finite amount of money, so if he charges more, then the town is on the hook for that additional funds.
True, I get that point, yep. Okay. I'm all good with it. Anybody got any other questions on it?
Who's gonna approve the payment?
I do.
You're gonna approve it? Okay. So you're the project manager?
I am.
Perfect.
Do you still have a copy of the grant for me? Just so.
I do. I'll get that too.
Thank
Did we already made a motion last meeting to approve this anyways, right? Or am I crazy?
No, I think you approved to hire him.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Alright, so I'll entertain a motion to enter into this contract for $19,600, right? For the
Not to exceed,
not to exceed,
I'll make that motion.
and we can rattle off the name if I
Can
come back
you,
to it here.
I'm sorry, can you include that James will sign off on the
Yeah.
contract,
I
please?
can sign off on it.
I'll make the motion, to have James sign the contract for 44-7 Strategies LLC for consulting in the sum to not to exceed $19,600.
To help with the rewrite on this plan, so.
It's a step in the right direction.
I'll second it.
Alright, any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. That one, can you sign? Community economic development, got any for us, Elizabeth, there?
The grant for the downtown implementation, the sidewalk on Merchants Road, always stop at First Street and Grand Avenue, shortening the crosswalk, cross Grand Avenue in front of Pumping Munch from the Village Green, and then moving the crosswalk from where the Chamber of Commerce is, across to Merchants Road, moving that. That grant agreement has been signed, so we will be moving forward with that. You may have seen some activity at the Riviera Hotel. They removed the underground storage tank a week or so ago, and then yesterday they did soil sampling to make sure that there were no leaks or there's no issues. We had a call with the State Historic Preservation Office and with EPA because the age of the building makes it a historic structure. So they're going to need to do some, VHB has been hired as a historic preservation consultant. They will find if there is going to be a significant impact to historic structure. It's pro forma, it's old, we're gonna tear it down, it's a significant impact. It's a box you have to tick in order to apply for federal funds for cleanup. So we are getting ready to figure out how to do the asbestos abatement. There's asbestos on, I think, as I told you the last time I was here, on the first floor and in the basement, so we just have to abate that.
Yeah.
I'm not making any promises about when the building's coming down, but we're slowly.
The wheels are turning.
The wheels are finally turning, so KAS will be back in a couple of weeks to do some groundwater sampling. It was actually interesting. The sample is like 4 feet long. I mean, they don't send that much, but the whole thing was really interesting. So, making some progress. There's a purchase and sales agreement for property on Mill Farm Road. I think I mentioned it last week. Working with Green Mountain Welding and Green Mountain Knitting on that grant. And then there's a couple in the village that we had talked about, so.
Okay. Well, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
DB Road update, the culvert cut did get paved in last week, I believe it was, it is paved in. This skipped to it, paving should be done either this week or next week, on our last two roads, the BB Road and the Wheel Around. And if anyone wonders why they apparently the painting crew decided to paint the lines on the BB Road, even though we knew we were gonna pave it, so. We are gonna pave it, it will be paved, and they will come back and paint it again. They apparently did several roads in other towns and made mistakes on painting it that they weren't supposed to until we paved them, so. So that's that. Then we'll call Shore Culvert. I talked to the engineer. There's not enough time to get it out to bid and do all the paperwork he's gotta do and get the culvert ordered to get the job done before the end of the year. So we have about no other choice to go forward with the contract that we looked at last week.
I know, I was absent last week and just saw the minutes. I just know for me, I go down that road almost 3 times a week just for the ride.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to be every time I went over it, it appeared to get worse, and I see that the blacktop just
We
keeps getting
shimmed
at
it for the 3rd time now, so we're really,
I actually went over it Sunday with the bat, and I actually bought them down.
I bet you did, yeah.
So, and I hit hard, and I still slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
In normal circumstances, I know we want to put this stuff out for bid, and I don't want to shortchange anybody by any means, but
Yeah.
I really think that this road, if we don't do something to do it quick, if that road gets shut down,
We're gonna be in trouble. It's gonna cost us a lot more money
it's not
if we gotta
good.
put in a temporary bridge or something.
I didn't see the
I'm trying
outlay
to,
right
well, I'm
off the
trying to
end.
find a contract from last week. I got it right here somewhere, so. For the estimate. Must be right here. Well, this is the time meeting, last one, it must be in here.
Was it 107?
It's 175,000, I'm trying to find the,
I think it was a separate email.
Was it
Was it a separate one?
It's in the email form. from Tyler.
Alright,
Let me
I know
find
I
the
got it
actual
right
package.
here. Here it is right here, I don't throw nothing out.
Tyler, the engineer, the contractor.
Yeah. So we were gonna go with option 3, right here, closed bottom culvert. It was the quickest one that we could get, guaranteed we'd get it by the end of the year. It's more commonly called a squish culvert.
What's the longevity of that one?
The manufacturer claims 100-year, Tyler said 50-75. If you gone, I'll be
We
gone.
won't have to worry
I
about
won't have to worry about it, as I told him. Yeah. I feel more than comfortable. I mean, the lifespan of a box culvert, concrete box culvert is 100 years, so. I think it's
Is
the
that
best
Tyler's
option.
price or the contractor?
That is a complete package deal. That's Tyler's price and the contractor's price.
So he's gonna hire the contractor?
What contractor will work for us, we're gonna pay him. But the engineer, Tyler will oversee the project.
So who's the contractor?
Scott Goodhue. Goodhue Excavating. He's done the last 2 culvert projects for us. He's always done a good job, never had an issue with him, and he's always the most reasonable price.
So we're gonna pay Tyler and the contractor,
That's right.
and
That's
it's
right.
not gonna exceed 175,000.
That's right. Yep, that's what he tells me. So, I'll entertain a motion to move forward with this so we can get it ordered and get
I move.
it done.
I'll second
Alright.
that.
So just to clarify, we're entering in a contract with Tyler Billingsley and East Engineering, and then Scott Goodhue Excavating to do the job for not to exceed $175,000. I got it first and someone seconded it, right?
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Thank you, guys. I will contact him in the morning. Any other necessary business? Whoop.
We had some discussion how we were gonna pay for that, cause it's not budgeted.
We're gonna use the money from our line of credit we have. If we don't have any other funds we can pull from anywhere else, so. And then we'll put it in the budget for next year. That's the simplest thing, will we pay a percent or 2 interest entirely anything, so. I think it's most logical.
Well, I think maybe that should be part of, or make a motion that we use our credit line to pay for this so that we can re-budget it next year.
You can make another motion if you want,
Yeah,
or if you want,
just
just make another motion.
I just made it.
Okay, you get a second on it then?
I will second.
Alright, any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Okay, all good, Earl?
Yep.
The only other thing I got for the highway, the truck, little truck's still over at the garage, we're waiting on a couple more parts for it. This roadside mower, it had an issue with the antifreeze. And they took it to the shop, looked at it, they took it back and now they're running it. If it continues, they'll have to order a part for it, but other than that, we're working on the roadside mowing, the guys are working on all the other projects. I can't think of anything else. Correspondence, we got anything for correspondence? Probably not, you do?
Jane?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, there's one.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we had one thing that's in the packet, and that's scheduling the public hearing for the P.E.G planning grant for the Abnett Tribal Headquarters project. There's a problem with of trying to get it warned in time in a newspaper circulation. Since newspapers don't publish religiously daily editions any longer, talking with Liz Curry, we can't get it warned for the next select board meeting via compliance. I included a bit of an email that she spells out where the problem is. And this is a problem, I think, in newspaper, that requirement that you have to publish things in a newspaper, it's really something that they should look at changing the law, because it's getting mixed with Boston. But she's got a couple of other options, one being a special board meeting to be held on the 23rd to continue the public hearing. I don't know if that's something she wants to do. She said that she could hold the meeting without the select board meeting as long as we have somebody there to run Zoom. I don't know what your feelings on that, so we're just looking for some direction so we can tell her which way to proceed.
You catch that? Cause I really haven't.
Brian, we're having a hard
I
time
already have
hearing.
understanding what you're talking to us about, unfortunately.
So
It's outlined.
Maybe Elizabeth knows what you're talking about.
you need to have a public hearing
Yep.
for the DCDB, application.
what is it for?
It's the CDBG application for the Abenaki renovation.
Okay, alright, I
So-
thought that's what you were saying, but I'm quite clear.
So you have to have a public hearing, and there are certain requirements for the warning, and it has to take place a certain amount of time before the deadline for the grant.
Yeah.
So Brian is saying that because newspapers are being published every so often, that in order to, she can't schedule a public hearing in time for the next select board meeting to meet all the requirements, so she's suggesting you do a special meeting on August 23rd. You don't have to be there, she'll run the meeting. I would highly recommend that you be there. I think it should be
Yeah, we can't.
a select
Well,
board there.
I recommend that as well.
Yeah.
Well, we can't, nobody can run a meeting without a select board there. That's not gonna work.
You're saying that
Unless
they can't do this meeting, the state will accept that meeting,
On the 23rd.
if even the select board's not there?
That's our regular select board meeting on the 23rd.
No.
No,
Yeah,
it's
you're
16.
right.
The ninth.
Oh, it's the 16th.
Oh, what's today?
There's the
Like
second
today's
half.
Oh my God, I'm a week ahead of myself.
Why don't we
We'd be
just,
voting today if it was next week.
why don't we just move our meeting from the 16th to the 23rd? We still got an extra week in the month anyway, so we're not gonna have 2 meetings 2 weeks in a row. Unless somebody's got something that, some reason that we don't.
That meeting has to take place by the 23rd.
I don't remember what the grant deadline is, but it's pretty quick in this, it's early in the month, so that's probably about the time that it's.
If that's the latest we can get, then she'll.
I would agree with James.
Yep.
Move the meeting.
I'd rather have 2 than 3, so.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, so we'll move our meeting to the 23rd, same thing as we do here, 7 o'clock. Solve that problem.
That will work for me,
Yep.
I'll let her know tomorrow.
Alright. Just remind us all that we moved it to the 23rd.
All right, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Brian.
So do we need to make a motion or just be noted that,
I think just note it, we'll
Yeah.
find it, as long as it's noted.
so you have to put that on the sign,
Adding on the sign.
because we don't even have the meeting.
Speaking of the signs, anybody updated that lately?
That's tomorrow.
Okay, well, I noticed something the other day, that I think our
Yeah,
last.
tomorrow will be
update was
updated. I
still
didn't even think to look at the sign,
Yeah,
to be
that's
honest with you. And nobody called and complained.
Yeah.
I just noticed I drove by today, but I forgot.
Nobody's complaining, it's good.
Well, I just figured Brian was still out.
He is.
I am.
But we can change it. We're gonna do
Other
it
people
tomorrow.
that can run it, so. Public comment, anybody anything under public comment? Yes, we're good.
Elizabeth?
Who striped County Road?
Who striped County Road?
Yeah.
Probably our guy we use, yeah.
Oh, it looks
Yeah.
nice,
Oh.
it went all the way down, so I thought
Yeah.
it would stop, hit like James Road. but it
Does he
went
get
all
paid
the way
twice for that?
Twice for what?
Strike it now, strike it again later after we.
No, oh, no, that's the state.
The state's
State's
gonna
one,
be-
like, the County Road might have been the state that did it, not him.
down. Okay, it
If
just
they went all the way straight through down to St.
No.
Albans Town, then that was the state.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
looks nice, whoever.
yeah, cause they do all those, it's certain class road, they do ours, so,
Okay,
there's
well,
quite a few.
you can take credit for it, cause it
Yeah.
looks nice.
Yeah, so they just went and did those the other day on P.E.G Road, so they must have been down there and done that too, so. Yeah, okay, perfect, thank you. Upcoming events, Tuesday, August 16th, regular select
Oh,
board.
wait a minute.
Alright, oh yeah, here we go, how
One
about I
second,
change
you
it?
know, because, I just, was thinking of this today, 78's getting, eventually gonna get paid. But
Yep.
isn't the village doing some bridge work too?
By God, I hope so, cause my wife gotta have an heart attack when we went over that
Oh,
bridge.
they,
Yeah, but what-
they taped it.
Does anybody, is there any coordination
Yeah, there
between
is.
the, there is, okay.
There is.
Alright, just wanna make sure.
Yeah,
That could be a
Yeah,
real-
there is. That's why we didn't do B.G Road.
Yeah,
We did B.G Road first.
Yeah.
and then-
Yeah, but I know that, but I mean, between the state paving 78 and the village doing the
Yeah.
bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough
Yeah.
just doing one at a time. If they're doing both at the same time, it's gonna
Yeah.
be,
I don't know, are they gonna do it when they're done?
Are they starting
I'm
that?
not sure.
I thought 78 was first, then.
It is, they're working on it now.
Yeah.
Are they starting
Yeah,
that
they
paper
paid
this summer?
No.
It
What,
was-
Brian?
Are they starting
Yeah.
bidding this summer on
They're
September?
gonna pay.
Yeah, but just
Quiet, it's, hang on, yeah, 1 second. What'd you say, Brian?
I believe they did some work on the bridge yesterday.
It's
Correct.
Sandy.
Okay,
Not sure if they completed it, but they were working on it, yes.
oh,
To answer
so the
your-
bridge is not a major project then.
It is.
It's
Well,
going to be.
that was the patch.
it is,
It's gonna be a major project.
Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna fix the problem.
Right,
But I don't think they're gonna start until the paving's done, because I think the paving's supposed to be done
So-
by what, the end of August, right?
To answer his question, yes, they're paving 78, but it's just a Band-Aid fix until,
Oh, okay.
in 4 or 5 years when they do the
It's
complete
some major
restructure.
project.
Because it's such poor shape.
Okay.
I mean, they're repaving the whole thing, but,
Well, I know
hopefully
it's,
it'll smooth it
they're
out.
working on the bridges yesterday, cause I went over to New York.
yeah.
Somebody's working on the bridges, so.
Alright, we all good on that then?
Be nice to make sure that that paving is gonna be done before they start the other project or vice versa, I don't know, because that's really gonna be bad for traffic.
Oh,
The,
it's-
the
Yes.
bridge
Yes.
project,
Yeah.
so there's the very slight temporary fix they did yesterday. Then there's the slightly more substantial fix, but they ain't got, the village doesn't have the money. The estimate came in almost twice as much as what they expected it to be, so they don't have the money, so he's trying to find the extra money. But we're also trying to figure out the timing of the major work, which may actually be a whole replacement, because they don't wanna spend a bunch of money if that replacement is in. So we're trying to coordinate, it's not, nothing's gonna affect the paving that they're doing now.
Yeah.
That's not an issue, it's.
I know it's not gonna affect that, but if
The
it's
re-
going on at the same time as my
I know,
concern.
No,
it's
it's not.
going to, because they're gonna, that road's gonna be paved soon during this
And then
already.
they would work with the state on, with the
Yeah.
reconstruction of 78 and the bridge at the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they going all the way to the bridge?
Yeah.
Band-aiding it, or you?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way
I
to
assume they are.
Cisco Bay Bridge.
Alright, let's try this again. Tuesday, August 23rd, will be a regular select board meeting here at the town offices at 1 Academy Street, 7 o'clock. Wednesday, August 17th, planning commission meeting at 6 p.m., same place, same,
6:30,
6:30 now?
it should say 6:30,
It says 6 o'clock.
mine says 6:30.
Alright,
You better,
so 6
It's
or
6:30.
6:30, the meeting's gonna be on August 17th. At least the date's right. Wednesday,
Right.
August 17th, it'll be here at the town offices. Thursday, August 25th, the DRB's meeting at 6 o'clock, town office building here, 1 Academy Street. Executive session, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to talk about personnel.
I move,
Oh, and you gotta read the whole solid thing, it's on the bottom.
I move that we finally enter into executive session for the select board to receive confidential contracts and personal information for which the premature disclosure of it to the general public will clearly place the select board and others at a substantial disadvantage.
The second on that?
Second.
Alright, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I move that based on our just made findings of premature disclosure, we place the select board and others at a substantial disadvantage. We enter executive session.
I'll second that.
Second on that, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We're now in executive session at, time is it, 7:50?
Y'all have a good evening.
You too, thank you.
Recording in progress.
Alright, I'm gonna move that from now on, that the warnings for the Development Review Board, be done in the St. Albans Messenger as our official warning place for the DRB, or DRB.
You got it. Alright, can someone second that?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
It's only published on Tuesdays and Fridays.
I know,
It is, but we came to the conclusion that using the courier is losing a week for people to get in there and get their permit,
It's
so.
every Thursday and every Tuesday and Friday, so it's gonna be a day later or a day
But it has to
earlier.
be in there. No, because it's a time it has to be in.
I'll entertain a motion adjourned.
Make a motion, we adjourn at 8:34.
Yeah, the 15th
Second.
day.
Second.
Alright, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
I'm sorry.
Aye.
You lose the 7 days.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We're adjourned.
Adjourned.
Good night, all.